This country, we're involved on the African continent in the reform of the African Union. Actually, after this meeting, I have a meeting, President Ruto and a few of our colleagues who are tasked to look at the reform of the African Union itself. We cannot be talking about reforms in our individual countries when the body that that brings together is not reforming. So I'm here to say that we are concerned about some of the things that we do on the continent, and we're working together to look at how we can reform the African Union. Obviously, that also means reforms in the regional bodies, SADC, East African Community, West African Community, North Africa. I think those are the building blocks. But for us as a nation, we're driving reforms. So we're also saying we need reforms in SADC, we need reforms at the AU level, so that we can have complementarity. Great. Multilateral engagements, we're seeking the support of all of you on the UN Security Council. Africa has to sit on that EU Security Council. We cannot be talking about the same thing over and over. Please pass messages to your capitals that the world has changed. The composition of the countries of the world has changed from 1945 and beyond to now. Most of our countries were not independent then, and so we were excluded. We are now here. Africa has to sit at the table where security issues are discussed. You really can't be talking about Africa without us. How do you hear our circumstances and considerations, issues? How do you decide for us on your own? That should be taken seriously. The Ezulwini consensus must be taken seriously, colleagues. So please pass, I know you do your diplomatic notes every now and then. Just a humble, we're not fractious about it. We are making a call that is genuine. And we can't continue making the same coordine for years and years, and there's no response. What does that mean? It means others have shut their ears to genuine concerns. So can we address those even amongst yourselves when you sit as ambassadors? Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, here we are getting to you all, family, brothers and sisters. It looks like African leaders are beating around the bush. For how long will we asking for a permanent seat at the UN Security Council without taking any action? And who will give us a permanent seat without taking a decisive actions? We have been spoken for more than 60 years asking for a permanent seat at the UN Security Council, but no one listens us. So what can we do as Africans? So kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen, in this video we are going to hear and to share the speech made by the President of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema. He's spoken many things, reform of the African Union, working together. So let us now dive deep into his speech. Here is his speech. Welcome.
Let me talk about regional and global relations. We're working as part of the African team countries on the anti-personnel mine and anti-personnel mine ban on treaty that we have acceded to. Actually, Zambia served as the 2025 president, and we're committed to clearance of landmines on our continent, and of course in the other parts of the world. And that's why we don't need conflict. We don't need conflict. What we need is development, colleagues. We don't need conflict. And so on the African Union, we're very active. Zambia is very active. And peace, security, stability. We're concerned about Eastern DRC. You all know that. We're concerned about many of our countries where there are trouble spots, because we believe that instability anywhere is instability everywhere. Because it does affect us, and we talk of working together more. There's no question about that. We all know now, even global conflicts away from the African continent affect all of us through trade, through migration, unnecessary migration, and added costs, and so many things. So I really think that we need to continue working together there. We're looking ahead to before I say that, this country, we're involved on the African continent in the reform of the African Union. Actually, after this meeting, I have a meeting, President Ruto and a few of our colleagues who are tasked to look at the reform of the African Union itself. We cannot be talking about reforms in our individual countries when the body that that brings together is not reforming. So I'm here to say that we are concerned about some of the things that we do on the continent, and we're working together to look at how we can reform the African Union. Obviously, that also means reforms in the regional bodies, SADC, East African Community, West African Community, North Africa. I think those are the building blocks. But for us as a nation, we're driving reforms. So we're also saying we need reforms in SADC, we need reforms at the AU level, so that we can have complementarity. We can have convergence of what we call common things that need to be done across the continent. So, Kenyan High Commissioner, we have a session this morning. President Ruto is chairing that session. So that includes the issues around touching on the global financial reform architecture, especially the issue around the cost of capital that Africa has to pay more than any other continent. We're not happy about that. It's not the right business thing to do. So we want Africa to be treated the same with regard to the cost of capital, the pricing of this commodity called capital. And there's no reason that the same business, same sector, elsewhere they pay less, we pay more in Africa. Then in the end we say Africa is inefficient. I don't agree with that. We don't agree with that. Because part of those costs are driven by the cost of capital. So these are the sort of issues that we're talking about. And we would like to expand this area, as I talked about trade and investment together. But if we are injecting a higher cost of doing business in Africa, which is really brought on to us through the structuring of the cost of capital, we need to address that. We want to see more volumes, more higher turnovers, and work more on volumes than margins. I think the margins, the spread is too much. So I'm just giving you a taste of some of the things that we're doing. As you know, that this president is Africa champion in Corella and on a number of things. So Zambia is extremely active. This country, since we took office, has come back into the League of Nations. We had withdrawn quite a lot, but the country is now back in the League of Decent Nations. So I thought I should use this opportunity to indicate that. We are pushing very hard Africa Free Trade Area. And let me remind you seated in here, Africa talking about doing business with itself does not mean we are going to exclude yourselves. We just want to work more with each other, naturally. And then we'll be a better team to work with yourselves, right? We will attract bigger capital tickets when Africa is working with itself first. So I see some of you may think that this is an attempt to extricate Africa from the rest of you. Not at all. Africa will be better when it's more organized within itself. Currently we're the continent that does the least trade with itself. That's a crime. And the leaders of this continent now recognize that. And I think it's important that we address it. In my view, it will overall improve even the risk profiling of this continent when we do things correctly in that way. So I think if I move quickly to the Great Lakes region, we're very supportive of the peace efforts in there. First ourselves, first time, 2025, first time, two regional bodies came together to form a joint team to work on the Eastern DRC conflict. East African Community and SADC, we created a joint team, and we will continue doing that. But we also appreciate the work of others, Qatar, the US, seeking peace for Eastern DRC and other trouble spots. We know what's going on in Sudan there. Not good at all. And we will continue seeking the support of first ourselves, countries, but also yourselves in the overall architecture of peace and stability in the world, which is good for development. SADC, I already mentioned, peace efforts, sister country, Mozambique, peace efforts in Eastern DRC. And Zambia has remained very active, first chairing the Troika in the SADC. We chaired the Troika in SADC. And in August, our colleagues, presidents have elected this president that will take over the chair of SADC, August 2026. We'll be taking over the chairmanship of SADC from President Ramaphosa, following the unfortunate issues in Madagascar, which accelerated the processes, because I should have come in, according to my colleagues, in 2027, but now President Ramaphosa had to come in earlier, and then myself taking over from him much earlier. just to keep you informed, for the SADC colleagues that are seated in this room, and we look forward to working together to maintain peace, security, stability in our region, but more so to invest with each other and in each other's economies. And we will be pushing that agenda. You can be sure of that. We will be pushing that joint investment agenda as we assume that responsibility. COMESA, obviously, we continue being active. We are the host in terms of secretariat. We work to consolidate COMESA. You cannot have an Africa Free Trade Area if COMESA is not consolidating, if SADC, if East African Community, ECOWAS, North African communities, and because these are the building blocks. So we cannot do that. So we're working on this sort of frame, getting to the Africa Free Trade Area. So we want to continue our efforts to get on the new headquarters of COMESA, and your support will be appreciated. The European Union, thank you very much for your support. We're very happy that we are now getting into the project stage, transaction stage. As you know, one of my first stops following my ascension to the President was to make a presentation at the European Union Parliament. And we talked things there. Now those things are maturing, such as what? Thank you for your support with the Zambian Airways rehabilitation. Thank you for your support in the Lobito corridor, very important to us, and obviously tying to the Tazara rehabilitation. Thank you for the colleagues in China for their support on Tazara. So Europe, France, Italy. Italian ambassador, is he here? Thank you for what the Prime Minister is doing there and her focus on the Matei plan and the support for the Lobito corridor. We're very grateful for that. And obviously the U.S. support on the Lobito corridor as well. We would like to see more traction in 2026. We've been talking a lot. We now need to get on the ground to do transactions and projects for the Lobito corridor, Tazara, of course, then the Zambian Airways. So given our land-linked nature, we're very pleased that for the first time in the history of this country, we have 3 railway systems being worked on. It's tremendous for us. Lobito corridor, Angolan colleague, you're here. Bondi. And we're very happy with that. Then the Tazara, very happy. Nihao, very happy. Then obviously the Zambian Airways. Thank you, EU. We really appreciate it. But you'll be happy to know that now the Lobito corridor interest has extended beyond Angola. Congo DR, where's the Congo ambassador? Is he here? Thank you. And Zambia is 3 primary countries, but now we're drawing in Tanzania. Is the Tanzanian ambassador, High Commissioner? Tanzania, Mozambique is coming through because of the Nakala corridor, all of that stuff. It's very, very exciting times. I stand here and say to the people of Zambia, this is one of the most exciting times that this country has found itself in for years and years because of the things that we are doing, and if we do them properly, what they mean to our economies, not just Zambia, but DRC, Angola, Mozambique, Tanzania, and Malawi, as it were, and Botswana, Namibia. We're doing quite a couple of things with Botswana and Namibia around there. I think Botswana colleague is there. Namibian High Commissioner, where is? There you are. Botswana, where is he? He's not here. All right. Tumerama. So we're very happy with that kind of stuff. So let's continue working together in those areas. Just a little bit to touch again, the global gateway for the EU, very, very important to us. Around there, there's a broader, higher level, and obviously Lobito is a subset of the gateway, the global gateway. So we're excited about those opportunities, and we want to push them harder beyond 2025, what we did in 2025. And so as I look at you, I'm looking at all the EU ambassadors collectively together. Please, I'm not ignoring the good bilateral discussions we've been having inside the EU, yes, with the EU, but also, yes, with the individual countries, the things that we're doing together. We appreciate all of us. Yeah. Chairman Ambassador, we were just chatting a few days ago. Once more, welcome. German, Namibia, Ghana. Where is my sister from Ghana? Yeah, thank you. Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Great. Multilateral engagements. We're seeking the support of all of you on the UN Security Council. Africa has to sit on that EU Security Council. We cannot be talking about the same thing over and over. Please pass messages to your capitals that the world has changed. The composition of the countries of the world has changed from 1945 and beyond to now. Most of our countries were not independent then, and so we were excluded. We are now here. Africa has to sit at the table where security issues are discussed. You really can't be talking about Africa without us. How do you hear our circumstances and considerations, issues? How do you decide for us on your own? That should be taken seriously. The Ezulwini consensus must be taken seriously, colleagues. So please pass, I know you do your diplomatic notes every now and then. Just a humble, we're not fractious about it. We are making a call that is genuine. And we can't continue making the same codeine for years and years, and there's no response. What does that mean? It means others have shut their ears to genuine concerns. So can we address those even amongst yourselves when you sit as ambassadors? Yeah, thank you very much. The issue of overall UN reforms, very committed to that, as you know. Zambia sits as part of the Council of Reforms under the AU C10 reforms. There's a group we have in Africa on the AU of C10, which interacts with the UN on the broader UN reforms. And Zambia sits on that C10 committee. And we continue to engage with yourselves. We're committed to the SDGs, no question about it. If you see the Zambia reforms and the program of reforms, the IMF, you will see a lot of the SDGs in there. It's very important that we recommitted to the SDGs. Climate action, very important to us, very, very important, and we continue being committed on that. Development financing, I've already touched on that. Lastly, I want to say that I know there is anxiety, but I want to assure you that in 2026, there will be credible, peaceful, and transparent elections. There will be credible, peaceful, and transparent elections. I'm sure you're following what's happening in by-elections. Who wins does not matter. But the process allows the opposition to win, allows the ruling party to win. There's an election in Kasama today. Whoever wins, democracy wins. And we had elections in Chawama. Most of you are not aware, may not be aware, that Chawama was a source of panga politics in this country. The pangas in politics were born in a constituency called Chawama in Lusaka. Prosperity. Two-way trade and investment, not one way. I think that should be the new order. Two-way routing. I do believe I speak for other African presidents because I sit with them. We talk. And so I want to believe I speak for some of them. Not all, but for some of them. Let me end by thanking you so much. Cheche. Merci beaucoup.
Yes, welcome back, family, brothers and sisters. I'm killing Mama Africa. As you can see in this image, this is Mama Africa. And I'm speaking from my inner heart and to tell you that if we don't come together, if we don't unite to serve Mama Africa, no one will serve Mama Africa. It's our duty, we Africans right now, to support or to come together, united, serve Mama Africa. So you heard a lot from the speech made by President Hakainde Hichilema, the President of Zambia. He's spoken a lot of things, but I would like to comment on a few things, starting with the issue of the reform of the African Union. You heard he's spoken about the reform of the African Union. Do you think the African Union that is going to be reformed will affect the needs of majority of Africans, and in how African Union will be reformed? The first of all, we have to understand the structure of African Union. Right now, African Union is being sponsored by Westerners and Easterners. If you look very keenly, you understand that even leaders who are being elected in the African Union are being influenced by Western leaders. You see, the headquarters of African Union itself was made or constructed or built by the Chinese. Chinese has hand in the African Union. So how are we going to reform this African Union that already Africans are being divided? African Union is talking about democracy, rule of law, human rights. Is the African Union really considering the human rights of Africans, or is just human rights of white people, or rule of law of white people? President Ruto, President Hakainde Hichilema, and other leaders are being nominated and appointed, of course, to work for the reform of the African Union. What reforms of African Union you think will work for the entire continent of Africa? I think, first of all, if I'm the member of leaders or among the leaders who have to share, I will call African leaders, please stop all those things, sit down and talk about unity. We cannot reform the African Union that is so divided. What are you going to reform if people are being divided? First of all, you have to bring the continent together. That's the first thing. Without reforming and demanding permanent city, whatever, reforming the financial institutions, let us bring Africans together. And let's make Africans feel that this body is their own. Right now, majority of Africans are not feeling that AU is their body. They think this is a tool to support Western systems and to maintain Western colonialism. Majority right now, they feel like that, because you see, when people in Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso came together, demand justice and asking for the move of France military base, African Union kept silent. African didn't say anything. African Union, I mean it. So people feel like African Union is a tool being used. African Union didn't release any kind of statement when America accused South Africa for white genocide, while African Union is a continental body, understood that there was no white genocide in South Africa. So you can see. So what reforms you think they will bring together Africans, or they will make Africans feel that they're part of this organization? Another issue is the issue of doing business. I saw President Hakainde Hichilema expressing himself about African Continental Free Trade Area, that it is not going to exclude Europeans and other foreign countries. We don't need to beg, and we don't need to express ourselves. And I don't think it is bad for we Africans to do business among ourselves. What's wrong with us? So if we think African Continental Free Trade Area, maybe the threat, we ourselves, we feel it's a threat to the Western, and we express ourselves, it is going to die. We don't need to express ourselves in the frontiers of Western people, while themselves they do business among themselves. So it means we fear to move out of the system. So I think there's no need for President Hakainde Hichilema to express himself about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. That maybe those who feel bad, let them feel bad. They took us into slavery for a long time, many years. We felt bad. They're exploiting Africa, then they don't care. Still today, they are exploiting our resources. So we don't need to express ourselves. Africa Continental Free Trade Area must be implemented. So how can we implement Africa Continental Free Trade Area while we have these barriers, we have these borders, we have many logistics on the table? Let us remove colonial borders. One thing that Africans, we are failing. We are still, we talk without acting. We talk too much without acting, especially to these politicians. You know, yesterday I shared a video about Traore resolving all political parties, removed and collapsing all these political systems in Burkina Faso. Some reacted, some said, no, it's the dictator. No, it's not about dictatorship. It's about finding African way of governance ourselves. So even the African Union needs to find a way to govern itself. It needs to find the way to sponsor itself. You know, you cannot be sponsored by America and then quarreling with America. How is it possible? How is it possible, brothers and sisters? The time has come and the time is now. Apart from that, also President Hakainde Hichilema has spoken on the issue of Lobito Corridor and the Tazara, how countries, Angola, Zambia itself, Tanzania, Congo Democratic, of course, including right now, Mozambique is going to join, how are going to benefit from this Lobito Corridor. You know, we have to understand, brothers and sisters, these infrastructures are colonial infrastructures. We cannot continue to maintain colonial infrastructures. If we Africans, we really want development, let us not having these outlet infrastructures. So, and that's why you see, you talk about Africa Continental Free Trade Area. While you don't have connectivity between Congo and Angola, there's no connectivity between Zimbabwe and Namibia. Right now, if you want to go, maybe you are in South Africa, you want to go to Morocco, you have to go to France. In Paris, then you have to go to Morocco, or to go to Dakar in Senegal. There's no direct flight or connection within Africa. You can see. So our systems is outlet systems. Our infrastructures are outlet infrastructures. So to talk about Lobito, it's a good thing that we have Lobito Corridor, we have Tazara, but let us look at the aim of those infrastructures. Is it true it connects people? It to allow Africans to do business among themselves? Or is to maintain exploitation across the entire continent of Africa? Because these infrastructures that we have right now, brothers and sisters, is colonial infrastructures. All of them are taking resources from the mainland to the ports, then looking those resources to go out. You know, right now we think that to do business, we need to do business with China, to do with America, and that's why America came with the idea of AGOA. And this is also shocking me that we are going to have a continental free trade area. Also, we have AGOA. Some countries have signed agreement with America. Some countries have signed agreement with China. How are we going to do business among ourselves while we have already with an agreement with others? I don't mean that we have to not to work with others. No, we have to work with others. But how are we going to? Because if America wants resources and you say I'm trading in South Africa, you're going to be sanctioned. You're going to be removed from power. That's how it is. That's how it is. You see how difficult it is. Also, apart from that, President Hakainde Hichilema has spoken the issue of DRC. We know very well that the issue of DRC is very, very critical. Some blaming Rwanda, some blaming labels, but all in all, the issue of Democratic Republic of Congo didn't start yesterday. The issue of Democratic Republic of Congo started a long time ago. Since the assassination of Patrice Emery Lumumba, Congo never be the same again. Congo was never see peace since the assassination of Patrice Lumumba. You may ask yourself, who assassinated Patrice Emery Lumumba? Is it true Congolese want wars? Is it true that Congolese want to fight each other? Is it true it is Kagame who is funding these M23 and who is supplying weapons to these M23? Is it Kagame? And if it's Kagame, who is behind Kagame? So there's a lot of things we need to ask ourselves. We have seen mercenaries being captured in Democratic Republic of Congo? Who is sponsoring those mercenaries? And if it's true, why those mercenaries didn't being taken to court for justice and being charged for violating international international laws? They came from Europe, coming to Africa, looting resources. Why they being allowed to go back to their own countries? Who is behind those mercenaries? So you can see the issue of Democratic Republic of Congo is too critical. Recently, America jailed saying it's going to support peace. Of course, we see accords being signed between President Felix Tshisekedi and the President of Rwanda, President Paul Kagame. But the question is, the problem is Kagame and Tshisekedi, and why M23 leaders were excluded? You know, we have to understand the reason behind the conflict of Congo. We can sit down with a lot of meetings, a lot of summits to talk about Congo, but if we don't include the people of Congo who are feeling excluded, Congo will never see peace. Congo will never see peace. Those are just my opinions. So, but all in all, I expect more from you. I'm waiting to hear a lot from you. But here is just my comments from what I heard from President Hakainde Hichilema, the President of Zambia, talking about the continent of Africa, expressing his feelings about what is going on in Africa. But all in all, we need African leaders to come together, unite, and if possible, to withdraw from the UN until we sit down and having our own strong organization. No one will hear Africa in a divided ways. No one will hear Africa while they know very well that Africa is a broken continent. Mama Africa is crying. Mama Africa is crying and waiting to see who will please Mama Africa. I love Africa. I love my mother continent, Africa. So have a nice time. See you next time in another video. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa.